And looking at the word aspiring leaders. Yeah, if you are looking at leadership training programs and mentorship, should be for underrepresented people, not for just that article aspiring. Underscore that, if I don't aspire to lead, I shouldn't be meant in training programs.
Okay, thank you. Okay, stay with the mic first. Okay, you could sit. Okay, so let's do it like this. The strategy. Okay. I don't.
Percentage, if I may say. Let's say establish quota to ensure what's it called? Reasonable percentage.
And ensure equitable. Okay. I'm looking at. We don't have the figures of what is on ground. We don't need. Okay, we don't. Okay.
Sorry. Excuse me. I think we don't need to include the figure because we'll have a commission mandated with that, giving that mandate, the Federal Character Commission, they state how much percentage that goes to this and that. But the way you have just put it, perhaps the university, they visit institutions to ensure that the federal character is always represented. I don't think.
So on the first one, it seems our consensus is that we should not specify any particular percentage, but we should express this strategy to reflect that the distribution of leadership position should be done in an equitable manner.
So we exchange the word minimum to equitable.
But that means percentage will not be there because we can't have equitable percentage. Can we have equitable percentage?
Why don't we use the word at least, because it will never be equal. Sincerely, at least, at least a certain percentage, at least. Okay, percentage, right? The figure. Okay, but for me, minimum. Sorry, I still have the mic. For me, minimum percentage is not appropriate. Minimum. So I accept to have to look for a word to replace it, right? Equitable. Yes, equitable. But yeah, equitable is okay. But I'm just wondering if we are being realistic, if we use that, because we know it may not fly.
Actually, my worry is that if we put a specified percentage, you wouldn't know what will happen tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow a woman will be a VC of University of Port Harcourt, and she will be somebody that is so passionate about women descent that you now see it. Women are now coming in. That someone say, "Oh, you have insisted this is not what it now. That women, this you understand?" Because when we talk about this gender, no matter how we look at it, people still look at women. So let's just avoid this percentage. We wouldn't know what will be.
Okay. We seem to have two views now. One view says, okay, I think it's almost the same thing, though. It's almost the same thing, except that our prof here mentioned that we should mention percentage. Otherwise, she didn't say so. Okay, prof appeared to mention that. we should got a minimum benchmark. A minimum benchmark. Okay, 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 okay. So we have two views. Prof is suggesting a minimum benchmark, maybe of 35%, and then other contributors are saying we should remove.
We are looking at women.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Gender.
Yeah, I think I'd like to stick with what she said, because you have to measure. If you keep it open, maybe a VC might come and say he has done what is equitable. So, but when you specify the figure, you'll be able to measure what is the 35% or more. So I will suggest that a minimum, that's like 35% be put. Yeah. That's
So before I give it to see, let's take a cue, or let's look at what Uniben said here. Our strategy, something that looks like this one we are talking about. The university shall give preference to, although they mention women, the university shall give preference to women applicants in the recruitment process in institutions where both sexes perform equally. However, departments where the ratio is already weighed in favor of women. However, in departments where the ratio is already weighed in favor of women, men will be favorably considered, kind of, and other things they mention here.
That's it. Yes. Equitable distribution or representation of both genders. Equitable representation of both genders in the leadership positions. Representation of both genders.
All genders.
Equitable is not measurable. That's the challenge.
The one you read.
Besides,
What did Uniben say? They put percentage.
besides,
No, the one you have before, there's always to avoid what you don't know in future by putting that percentage.
exactly.
You don't say 35% this thing. Tomorrow, if you now have more than 50, now it will become a problem.
No, see, not even that. Tomorrow, in the very near future, what if federal government now wakes up from their sleep and say, okay, we are making it 50-50. Then you go back. You go. No, so that is why we should use the equitable.
What if it's not up to
Let's do the equitable.
You must always, once there's law today, you must adapt your policy. You must have, even if this night, you must align it with the law. You can't have law and you keep your policy
paper.
until after 5 years and refuse to follow the law.
Can I say something? Please, barrister. You know, yesterday one of the participants made reference to mediocrity, and I know that's why I was just listening. At the point of whether equitably or percentage, I think that issue will come up. But I'm just thinking, currently we are also talking about 50-50 in gender issues. Currently, the discourse is on. So, you know, some of these things will not actually be completely open by writing. Some are implied and some are applied. So it depends on who is there. Like what we are saying for Nigeria today, if you say 35% affirmative action, we're not even there. We don't have up to 10%. So, but create something that will also eliminate mediocrity. That's where quota system comes in. You know, it eliminates mediocrity, but encourages participation. That's my own view. That's what I'm thinking. So make your choice.
Sir, I think when you finish, you just look for
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Wale Samchigonum, postgraduate student. What I want to say is, it is important we mention a figure, because if you're advocating for something, you must be specific. You must lay your hands on where you know that society is transiting. Because society is transiting, we don't know where we're going to. So if you mention a figure, there must be a center where people should look at. that this is what you want. You must be emphatic that this is what you want. So if you don't mention a figure, you're automatically saying nothing because our society is transiting. We don't know where we are headed. So it is important we mention a figure. We mention what we want. Thank you.
Okay, so I think we should now aggregate our views expressed. So so basically, I can say what we have on ground are two views. One, that we should have at least a minimum benchmark, and we should mention a percentage. And that view is saying we should not mention any specific benchmark or percentage. If that is the case, I don't know. And so we have these two views, but it's just how to put it. The view that is advocating for the use of the word equitable is just because we are finding it difficult to measure it. I don't know. So what do we do? Do we adopt what we have on paper here in place of that, or do we use the percentage format and say at least? So I'm thinking, I am trying to align myself with the view that says we should use the minimum benchmark of at least. That's my own view. I don't know. So I'm going to align with that view. So maybe let's take those who are in support of that, so we could move on. So at least 35%. At least 35%. And the problem is we don't know what is on ground. We don't know if we already have the 35% on ground or we have exceeded it already. I don't know. Okay, so what do we do so that we can leave this? You go for equitable. Okay, so are we going to do a raising of hand? So for percentage, for at least, Prof, well, you mentioned 40%, at least 40%, at least 40%. Okay, so we may not be certain about what percentage will ultimately reflect in what will be drafted. So it will depend on the work, the thing we do, and when they're able to determine what is on ground, they could fix 40, they could fix 50 or whatever. But for those who will support a benchmark, a percentage benchmark, can we support that? Can we see so that we can? Okay, so, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Okay. I think that is okay. Okay. Yes. So those who are against the percentage, can we see him? Against percentage. Okay. So let's move on with the at least 40%. Then subject to modification by the team. Yes. So strategy two. Develop leadership training programs and mentorship schemes for aspiring female leaders. I think Prof there talked about this point. The Prof is against the use of aspiring in this second strategy. She says, does it mean if I'm not aspiring to be a leader, I shouldn't be trained? I shouldn't benefit from this mentorship program or networking or mentorship training program and all of that? Okay. Okay, so aspiring should be dropped. Okay. Underrepresented. Okay, so those who are not underrepresented should not be part of the training.
Everybody should be exposed to mentorship and networking. So everybody,
because I believe that even those who are not underrepresented should be able to have the information, the knowledge, which they will use in ensuring that they are giving help to those who are. So, okay, so if that is the case, and mentorship schemes. Okay.
Guys, it's including all genders now. For all genders now.
Okay. For all genders. I think for all genders should go. For all genders. So, Secretary, develop leadership training programs and mentorship schemes for all genders.
Setting up committees headed by the. So I was wondering how those two lines, those two implementation lines, can actually help us in achieving that policy.
You think there's still a gap?
There is still a gap because there is supposed to be a steering committee headed by DVC admin, then the Center for Gender, the person who is there.
I think that should be captured in a sort of.
Then the departmental focal point and all that. They need to set up.
Okay. Okay. So we should add that. Okay. Okay, so there is a suggestion made by one of our colleagues here, a participant in this program. So he said that these two strategies for implementation are inadequate, that there is still a gap, that there is no specification of the body or focal point or committee that will ensure that this what do you call it, that this quota or whatever we are saying should be established is implemented, that there should be such focal point or an office or committee that will be established within the university system that will be in each faculty or department. We have such focal point or office where people could make complaints if they feel that that faculty or that department has not attained that quota or is violating this quota, where complaints could be made that there is no such designation of or establishment of an office that should coordinate the implementation. That's his suggestion. Whereas my colleague on my right, immediate right, is saying that we should designate one single office, because it means when we come to sexual harassment, there will also be that gap about which committee or which office. And when we get to the next one, it will keep recurring, so we will duplicate so many committees and all of that. Now, why don't we create one as the focal point or committee where all issues about violation of all these policies we are going to look at will be channeled to? So I don't know which one. Okay, so since
Excuse me. Excuse me. Hello. Hello. Stand up.
okay, but Prof, is there an existing committee in the University of Port Harcourt that handles this issue?
There's a dex, gender dex.
Suggestion, ma.
That's what we are saying, the organogram.
So, suggestion, ma. We will now have 4.2 titled Implementation Committee Team or Implementation Committee or Policy Committee to bring up this one. Adding that one here now, I don't think it is correct because 4.1 is simply leadership and representation. So I think that what we're talking about, that is the team that would implement this policy, bringing everybody together under the gender center, should all be written under this implementation or gender policy implementation team or committee. Suggestion.
Sorry, can I add, please?
Yes, please.
So the reason why I said it should be under the objectives, because we have 4.1 leadership and representation where we are taking objective 1, 2. So if we are doing this, I think it should be 4.9. It should be under 4.9. And then it should also be stated in the objectives where we can lift and go. When we go to 4.9, we describe it, which center would anchor it and everything. I think so. Instead of repeating it under each session.
Okay. Prof, I don't know. Prof, don't know. Say something. No, say something.
Well, I think the lady in blue said my mind too. I think the implementation committee, if you look at what we have in the other universities, like you mentioned the organigram thing, they use such a strategy, and the vice chancellor is the overarching unit, just like the Center for Gender Studies and all. It's still under the vice chancellor's office. So the implementation committee, where the center will also be part of it, there should be definitely a committee. The center will be part of that committee. So it's not like we want to duplicate things. So I still align with Kaite's what she said. Maybe we could bring that into 4.9 so that it will be a standalone unit of its own. So that's just what I want to add.
Okay.
Administration might not. Administration, this administration.
Okay,
I
so
say I want to have an insight.
colleagues,
in hand.
I think. Okay, so I think I think the consensus appears to be that we should have an implementation committee, by whatever name it will be called. It should be a standalone provision in this.
Yes.
So now, if that is, yes. So yes. Okay. So my thinking is that since it's going to be like 4.9 or thereabouts, that's likely going to be towards the end of this paper. Let's leave it. Let's leave discussion on its composition and how it's going to look like, and focus on the implementation strategies. When we get there, we can now elaborate on how the shape we want it to take and the organogram of. So it means as we are discussing each of these implementation strategies, let's not bother about the institution that we implement, because we know we are ultimately going to discuss that when we get to 4.9. Let's just discuss them as implementation strategies. Okay, so if that is taken, it seems we are done with the implementation strategies for the policy on leadership and representation. We added one more policy, Madam, I hope you are aware. We made it 3. The implementation strategy. Somebody mentioned one other. Okay. So are we okay with the 2 implementation strategies, quota and training? Okay, as modified, yes. So the next policy is policy on sexual harassment and gender-based violence. Yes, there is an objective for it. Yes. In the objective is about harassment, sexual harassment, and gender-based violence. Yes. Harassment, sexual harassment, and gender-based violence. Where's the 6? It's 2 now. It's supposed to be 2. Okay. Which one is 6? No, you are saying that the objective objective bullet 2 is 2, number 2. Bullet 2. Objective 2. Implement it's just number 8 that they were shifted. The first statement is number 1. So it's number 2 to implement effective measures to prevent and address sexual harassment and gender-based violence. Yes,
so it's objective number 2.
Yes. Okay, so that's so 4 point. So that is 4.2.1. Yes. So 4.2.1 is that objective, and then 4.2.2 will be the implementation strategy.
This particular one we are considering now is very, very important to me because hello, we had a rape case in my department 2 weeks ago, and the guy was threatening the girl that if you talk, they will ask you, what are you doing in boys hostel? There's a policy that no one will believe you, because there's a policy that girls should not be in boys hostel, and he just threatened the girl. So I want us to add awareness creation, because the girl didn't know of such a policy. How do we add awareness creation to this training so that they will be empowered? Because we need it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you, Doc. I think let us look at there are 2 implementation strategies that are here. So what Doc just mentioned is not part of it, so we are going to add if we agree on it. So first of all, let's look at the existing 2 we have here. So if there's a gap, we add 1 or 2 more according to how many gaps we can identify, just as Doc has mentioned one. So the first one is implement mandatory training on sexual harassment prevention for all university members. Won't this cater for, won't it take care of, okay, this training, not sensitive, is this, okay. Okay, or should we adjust this and add training and awareness, or should we add awareness, sensitization? Okay, implement mandatory training and sensitization on sexual harassment prevention for all university members. Will this be okay? Okay, that will be additional. Okay, sorry.
Please, can your Your department, your center, do a GS course that is compulsory for everybody. That is my suggestion. Let it be a GS course. You show them things, videos, and say identify the sexual harassment in this. Is this correct? That's how we change children's minds. Thank you.
When you want to talk about any course, it is not dependent on any center. It's an NUC matter. Like I was telling you earlier, we have been doing a lot of work. We have done some engagement with NUC, and in fact, currently, a lot of courses are having 1 credit unit as GS because they are numerous. But we have been talking about it, and the process has begun, and it's on introducing gender-related issues as one of the GS courses. Is on. Even somebody made that suggestion this morning. I said yes, yeah, and he has given it to you. That's at the point we mentioned it will be included. So if our university comes good with it, they will also help with that advocacy and campaign. Yes, it's very important for our students, for our own students. In fact, we don't talk about sexual harassment. They know, but this one is university wide, especially the undergraduates. That's where we have challenge. Yes.
Okay, thank you, Paul. Okay, so we've taken the first point, and we've taken the first point. The first implementation strategy adjusted it. So.
Okay, please. Okay, please. I beg to please say something about the first one. I like when we have to measure. This sexual harassment stroke sensitization, are we doing it once a semester or twice? Is it once or twice? So we measure how far. So the center should be held liable if they don't follow the recommendation in the document.
Okay, so should it once a semester, twice? Mr. Andrew is asking whether we should specify the number of trainings or number of times trainings or sensitizations should be conducted. I mean, for students and for the university committee. Do we need to go that?
Well, I think we should leave it open. Just 2 days ago, a parent called me lamenting bitterly. Oh, my child just finished, I think, school, and he's supposed to go for youth service and all of that, yet no results. I can't remember, I don't want to mention the department. I said, my son is in final year. I've not seen his results. So I'm here. I said, see, I don't know who to blame. We are 6 in my department when we should be at least 30. The pressure is there on everybody. Now, I'm going somewhere. Now, the issue of how many times a student suffered here, she failed, well, she didn't fail, she cheated in the exam, even though she lied, she didn't. But unfortunately, the department did not meet, the faculty did not meet. She spent the 6th year, the 7th year, and by the 8th year, the university said she should fail out. And I came into she came to me and I got to know. I went to the VC, I said, sir, the department goofed, the faculty goofed. Though I didn't tell him the university also goofed. I didn't want trouble. Now, the thing was, we didn't do what we were to do at the right time. Again, who do you blame? The chairman has a lot in his hands. He's chairman of this panel, he's chairman of that panel, and we're supposed to meet that same semester. But we couldn't meet. So I'm not holding brief for anybody. So the issue of how many times is better we leave it open. Since there will be an implementation committee in-house, we may decide to meet once in a semester. We may decide to meet twice. I understand metrics should be measured or measurable. That's why you are saying what you are saying. But then again, I don't want a situation where when auditing, is Frank still here? When the auditors now want to audit and say, but you said you were going to meet twice. You didn't meet twice. That means we have failed. So let's leave it open. So whoever is there will be able to manage it. That's my thinking.
Thank you very much. But see, if it's a mandate of a group, they will be able to do. But if it's open, just like what you have said, if you're 6 in a department where expected to be 30, you know the challenge will be there. But this is a sensitive matter, and it's actually in the front burner now as far as Nigeria is concerned. In fact, globally, gender issues, they have become global issues and the center page right now. So what we are trying to say, if the mandate is given to a center, not the departments, not the university, it is part of their duties and responsibilities. They know that if students are returning in September or October, between September, October to December, they should be able to do something. If they are not able, from January to April, they should be able to do something. You know, so that time is a wake-up call for the center, not at the center, the university central place where somebody somewhere, because these people is their mandate. Because if anything happens, people actually come from other states of Nigeria to our center to just come and see what we are doing. So, and these issues, when they are being identified, they will refer to the center. But the problem is like what we have discussed earlier. Activities or actions towards achieving these things are parcelized. A lot of people are involved. So you get any information, you keep it. You get one, you keep it. Centralize it. Let us know who is going to be held responsible if no action is taken.
Yeah, can I make a little input?
Oh, okay.
Well done. Yeah, yeah. I only want to follow up with what you said before. You were talking about a course being domiciled in your department to handle this issue, in your center to handle these issues. I want to remind you that we recently had 30% allocated to universities for their own peculiarities. And yes, CCMAS. Up till now, our own Senate has not approved that document. So, yes, ASU is kicking against it. But peradventure, we have an avenue to develop that CCMAS very well. I will put it on your table. Let this be a central course within the 30% for the university, and we'll get it right from there.
Okay. Yeah.
I think from what we have heard so far, it does appear that there is a consensus on not specifying the number of times enlightenment campaign sensitization will be carried out. But Prof is emphasizing that if it is domiciled in the Center for Gender Studies, that the sensitization will be done. It will be effective than when it is left to the university committees to handle. So,
I have a suggestion.
Okay.
A suggestion, please.
Okay, I'll come to you.
Please, yes. Every day I see posted from the counseling center, the university counseling center, they post things. So we can collaborate with them. I also know that students have their own WhatsApp group. Such messages can also be posted by the counseling center to the students' WhatsApp group on daily basis. So that can be done.
Okay, so thank you. So,
sorry, let me take up this counseling center. The counseling center or unit of University of Port Harcourt, I hope you know there are 2 units. In Uniport, there are 2 units, the academic and I don't know what the other one is. If it's non-academic, one is academic, one is non-academic. Still get towards achieving. So that division is what I was trying to explain here. It's not giving us the expected results. So the counseling unit is actually supposed to be an aspect of the gender center, because when somebody is harassed and they come in, you take them to the counselors. But we remember that sometimes we also have events. You want the counseling unit to be there. They are not there. So you see, the divergence is what I'm talking about here. And that's what you will try to see how you can harmonize to get that result that we're all looking for. Because that result is quite desirable and it's going to help a lot of people. So, but plenty of people at different points doing different things for the same purpose. It's not giving us the roads.
It's to be domiciled. Since it is to be domiciled or is already domiciled in your center. If the is domiciled in your center, yeah.
Let me.
No, what I'm okay. This project we are handling is not yet domiciled in your center. Yeah. Is in your center. So instead of it to be that maybe the counseling unit that was, then that center will be able to recruit to have the counselors that work with them. Not when they come, they will now, oh yeah, counseling is in another thing. So all of them will be part of the thing that form the center. You have the counseling sector who are also the implementation committee members.
Can I guide the discussion so that we have, okay.
No, this is very important. Let me guide, please, let me guide. Please, let me guide. The counseling, in fact, all the units, they are under the university. The center doesn't have the power to recruit. But what happens is that with what we are doing now, we said identify the gaps and let's fill the gaps. If these are identified, these are component parts of gender, whatever, activity and actions. So if all the units also know that they are part and parcel of the activities that bring about the safety of whether the boys or the girls, and whenever that synergy is what we are looking for. It is not as if they are not doing it, but we can't recruit somebody as a counselor. It will come from the counseling unit, but they should know that they will have, for the committee, they are part of the committee. From the national unit, they are part of the committee. The health unit, part of the committee. The student union, part of the committee. But then, what we are trying to say, when certain actions are being taken by certain persons at a particular time, they exclude where it's supposed to be the center or the head or the central unit where the reporting should be handled, and that brings about poor results. So that's what you are trying to harmonize. Do you understand?
Okay, I also think that we should just be conscious of time, because the way we are going, we may end up sleeping here. But the good news is that there's a hotel here anyway. So, all right, I have two things to say. And the first one is that for me, this is naturally a gender issue, and so the aspect of where it should be domiciled is also not meant to be debatable. For me, naturally, it should go to gender. That's number one. And then secondly, I think I tend to disagree with my Professor Adeshokpe. Yeah, we are all overwhelmed by work and responsibilities and all that. For me, I'm thinking that if we make it a yearly affair, it should kind of help to establish benchmarks and all that. Because I feel the pulse. I remember when this same child was raped, the one she talked about, and the boy was so loud. The way he went about it, I'll do it with impunity. In fact, you're even lucky that I just gave you this, you understand? So, yes, that night I was contacted, and the boy did it with impunity, okay? You understand? So this is what we should take seriously. And excuse me, sorry, can we have one house, please?
One house, please.
Can we have one house, please? So what we are saying is that if we just leave it open, it's as good as we don't know when. It can be in the next 10 years, 5 years, but if we establish the fact that it's going to be annually, we know that this institute is mandated to do it once a year. So they might decide to target maybe when the students are coming in, when they are coming back, that's the freshers or whatever. But let's just leave it annually and then let it be naturally domiciled in the gender. Those are my takes.
Okay, thank you, Prof. I think we've made excellent contributions on this very important issue. So, what we are on now is the implementation strategy 1, and I think the core of this is about whether we agree that there should be this mandatory training and sensitization. I think yes, and it appears we have agreed that we should have this as one of the strategies continuous realization of the policy on sexual harassment and gender-based violence. So the other details about which institution will drive this sensitization policy, the frequency and all of that, I think to me there are details that should be discussed when we get to the 4.9 or thereabouts, where we are going to talk about so I think we should just move on with this.
Okay.
And then talk about the next one. So when we get to the institution, the focal point, the committee that will drive the entire implementation process, we could dwell on the mandate of the center and how other units are going to play different roles and all of that. I don't know if that is accepted, so that we can move
Very
on.
accepted.
So that takes us to the next strategy, which is to set up an anonymous reporting system and to provide access to support services for victims. So, what do we say about this? Okay, Prof.
Okay, just an addition. I want to add that let me just read out everything.
Yes, let's first adopt to this. So if
set
there's a
up-
gap, we add.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, I said let's consider this second one first. If we agree on it, then okay.
I
Are
want
you
to just add something and then we look at it holistically.
okay? I was thinking we could finish up with whether we are accepting this second one. Then if there is okay, to modify it.
So that we look at
It's okay. It's okay.
Together.
It's okay. It's okay. Please go ahead. Please go ahead, Prof.
To set up an anonymous reporting system, provide access to support services for victims, and ensure that perpetrators are brought to book.
Okay. Yes. Yes. Okay, so exactly what is here, then comma, at the end of these victims, comma, that means the sentence is continuing, and to ensure that perpetrators are brought to book. Okay, so we've listened to the modified version of the second strategy for implementation recommended by Prof. Do we accept it?
Yes.
I think it's good.
Accepted.
I think it's comprehensive.
Yes.
Okay, so do we have gap? Will these two implementation strategies effectively help to combat sexual harassment and gender-based violence, or do we think there's a gap? Is there an additional strategy we think should be added to make for effective implementation?
With respect to the implementation strategy, you know what happens in exam malpractice committee? They say they'll give you 2 weeks, in department should report. So that we don't get to this point when the university will say, when it happens, how long we expect, the period for all these, what's it called, finding the facts, getting the perpetrator, so that you don't overstay, that the university will not look at it as a stale information. So I think we need to do something with the period, time, so that if it happens within 1 month to 2 months or 1 week, 2 weeks, the issue should be addressed. Thank you.
Please, can I answer? Okay. I'm answering because something that has to do with sexual violence is a crime. It doesn't have time. Even if, like that lady you were telling me 5 years ago was raped, she can get up now and report. You can get up 10 years after and report. It doesn't matter. If you remember the case of George, telling your truth is one thing. The evidence and saying whether the person actually did it is another thing. Remember when there was a Supreme Court Justice of America, one Brett Kavanaugh or whatever his name was, when Trump said he should be Supreme Court judge, there was a woman who came and said, he raped me when we were in secondary school. So time does not matter. Even if they rape you 20 years ago, you can come and say it when you're brave enough to say it. And the older it is worse for women. So somebody coming out much later is even more to be listened to, if I may.
What will be the usefulness of reporting what can no longer be used to bring the perpetrator? You've lost everything that would have been needed.
and shaming is as important as actual punishment. Naming and shaming, because it tells to the character of the person.
Let me not be the boss. I'm only guiding. You know, the problem with your reaction is our own environment. You know, first and foremost, you victimize the female, especially there are most times whose reports that they victimize you, then try to intimidate you, you know, and do all manner of things. But what I think you people should do here is to ensure that that confidence to report, bring it to the fore, is what we are talking about. And she talked about timing. And that's also our constitution. If you look at our constitution, it's masculine. It will tell you evidence before a matter would have been taken up. You know, these are things that are making reporting and getting justice, you know, impossible. So what you're tweaking here is how, at the moment I have had an experience as a deputy director where a student, one student, very studious, then went to the library. Somebody took advantage of the girl, and when we heard it, we all ran. Woo, 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 call the lawyer, call the police, call everybody. By that we got to the girl. The next thing, we were not finding the girl anymore. When we ask questions, they said they have taken the girl for deliverance. And that was the end of that story. And the person is still walking free on this campus. So if that guy wakes up tomorrow and tells us, that's where we come in. So I want you to tweak it in such a way that any moment somebody who is a victim is able to report and can face the crowd. Please, lawyer, they laugh me. Oh. The lawyers are laughing at me. Oh. Take your mic.
Okay. Okay. So can I say, please? Okay. I have a problem with reporting. I have a problem with reporting because when it comes to reporting, the next thing they talk about is evidence. Evidence. So how can we draft it in such a way that immediately it's reported, there should be maybe like a PI or investigation should be done? Because if you don't have evidence where you have to set up the person and you video, maybe the person reporting doesn't have a video evidence or doesn't have this and that, they always shove it aside. So can we have something that when such cases are reported, we bring in forensic, we bring in different to investigate it instead of sweeping it aside for want of evidence? That's why most cases are not reported. Evidence, evidence, evidence. Thank you. I know that women are advised to go to the nearest clinic for the doctors to check and confirm. And so once there's a certified, medical report, for me it's enough evidence. So my worry now is, at what point are we going to incorporate that? Is it during the training, or are we spelling it out here, you know, as a different activity, you know, to kind of provide a platform through which the students also will be will be informed of what they are meant to do once it happens, because it will happen. And once it happens, don't tell anybody, just run straight to the hospital. And then once it's established, have your medical report, keep it, quietly keep it, and then you go on with whatever.
I think what you modified this second, and that aspect of bringing the
perpetrators to book.
I don't know if that will cover steps that will be taken upon the report to ensure that that person is investigated.
No, the point sorry ma. No, the point I'm making is where we'll put or add that guide the victims to know what to do immediately it happens. That's the point I'm making. Well, how would they know? Is it during the training sessions that they will know?
I think the sensitization.
So if once that is done, then I think it now takes care of the fear she's trying to talk about.
Let me say something. This case now, people that this guy raped 5 years ago, they are now coming up, no evidence. So how do we treat this thing that without evidence? How are you going to treat it? So it's very, very important. So we should have a strategy of how to. Hello.
One house, please. One house, please.
We should
One
have.
house, please. One house, please. One house, please.
We should have a strategy on how to deal with no evidence cases.
Ma, please let me say something. When we are worried about evidence, it's only one small part, and that is when we talk about penetration. There are other things, and don't forget penetration. According to the modern law now on rape, you can penetrate somebody through any hole. If I put this pen in your ear, I have penetrated you. Do I need evidence for that? I don't know. Dr. Ifoma just left here, but when we talk about these issues, don't worry too much about evidence. Let it be in paper that you can report. That's where we are first.
Okay. Please give him, and then let's try to round off this particular.
Sorry, I want us to be very meticulous about this particular issue, because when you talk about penetration, somebody can penetrate a woman with consent. I am coming. Wait, I am coming. You can also penetrate a man with consent, and it is not rape. Now, you mentioned something about in America. You know they have CCTV cameras everywhere, where you have evidence, and so the person, the victim may not know that there was a CCTV camera there. Now, that's enough evidence. But in our society today in Nigeria, you don't have CCTV camera anywhere. You don't have it anywhere. So we must be very meticulous about this particular issue. If you're talking about penetration, there must be evidence. You must prove.
But we should also know that if you mention somebody's name, for instance, I'm a lecturer in Faculty of Law. If a female student mentions my name just for the purpose of mentioning, just to shame me, you know I have a right of action. Don't forget that I will go to court and sue for 500 million naira damages against that person. Yes. So we shouldn't encourage people, in my opinion, to just name and shame, and that's all. Let's encourage people because whether we like it or not, the state of the law as it is today is that in those cases that require evidence, if there's no evidence, the person will lose the case. For 100 times the case comes to court, for 100 times the person will lose the case. And of course, the University of Port Harcourt also observes what they call the rule of fair hearing. They cannot they cannot discipline a staff or a person without evidence. So the person will still escape from University of Port Harcourt and will also escape from the court in the law, and everything will go scot-free. So let us, as much as I agree with my colleague Nengi that there are other aspects that there will be evidence. At least some lecturers will send you text messages. You have screenshots of some messages. You have WhatsApp messages. You have videos. Those ones are okay. Those ones can last for, even though it's 10 years, you can always present them. But those ones that you cannot present the evidence after that day or 2, 3, 4 days old, you have to, let's sensitize these students that they must report almost immediately if they expect anything to happen. Yes.
Okay. Can I say something? Can I please say something?
Okay, so let's make progress. Okay, just speak so that.
Okay, please. I want us, like my professor, my lecturer said, what we were taught, that condition precedent to establish a rape case. So the issue with a lot of us in the University of Port Harcourt, of a student, sorry, a lot of students are very ignorant of their rights. They don't know how to establish these things. So that's where I talked about the training, sensitization. This could be maybe get a DJ and be playing music and be talking around the school. People be hearing, like all these other people yes, that's yes. Then also we should also educate them on the need for you not to wrongly accuse somebody, because a boy and a girl might be dating and they might have issues and the girl will say rape. So we should also, as we do that, we should also see how we balance it. Thank you so much.
Okay, so I think okay, Prof.
Sorry, there's something else we want to do. You know, like I keep telling all of us, gender issues and gender matters are quite sensitive, and we can remain here till tomorrow. We've not finished this, so try and move on faster, because we are going to break up again, where the women will tell us something and the men will tell us something. Please, yeah, yes, no, that's it.
So please, thank you very much for the contributions on the other. Okay, let's move to the next one. Please, let me beg, because of time. Let's just move on. If we take all the ideas we have, we are going to. Okay, let's believe that by the time we talk about one or two more other things, whether you can have, we still have gender-based violence awareness as another thing we are going to look at. Maybe when we get there, if you can still make a contribution. Okay, so the next one is access to education.
Can we just share ourselves into two groups and see how we can divide these roles?
I think this session was originally intended to be handled by 3 different groups. So it's because maybe we didn't come early enough. The attendance was small when we came. We decided to lump everybody together in just one group. I don't know if at this stage. Okay. So we are going to time ourselves now, and we are not going to take all contributions. Please, if we don't get to you when we get to a particular issue, please don't be offended. You may have time to talk on another issue. Okay, so access to education, policy on access to education. Is there an objective there? Yes. Okay. So that is so we have an objective for that, and then there are 2 strategies for implementation here. The first one, create targeted scholarship programs for underrepresented genders and marginalized groups. So let's talk about that. Create targeted scholarship programs for underrepresented genders and marginalized groups. Okay, so this is accepted. This is accepted. Okay. Second one is offer. Okay, so underrepresented genders and marginalized groups, are they the same people? Underrepresented genders on one hand, marginalized groups on the other hand. Okay. And underrepresented. Okay. The next one is offer flexible learning options, including online courses to accommodate diverse needs. Okay. Is there any gap in this one? Or we move on to the next one? Any addition? Okay. So policy on work-life balance. Is there an objective there? Okay. So with that objective, 2 actionable strategies have been documented here. One is implement comprehensive parental leave policies and flexible work arrangements. So let's speak about this. Parental leave, does it connote both the male and female? Okay, so what is the existing position of Uniport? Only maternity.
Parental leave covers both
Have you gone to know your wife?
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay, so we are okay with the first actionable point. The second one, provide on-campus child care services to support working parents. I don't think there's any problem with this. Okay. By accessible, are you imputing the idea of affordability or more centers? Okay.
Let me just give a brief on this. We used to have this. In fact, that was why Opwa was set up by Gladys Cookie on that time. Until they started the Opwa women started increasing the money to some extent people were removing their children. Now becoming
okay, so can we add accessible and affordable?
Hello, sir.
Affordable.
Moderator.
Okay.
Coordinator. Coordinator, please, let me not draw you back. Please, this,
please. One house. Okay.
This parental leave. Hello.
Okay, please.
This parental leave, does it cover students? It's only staff. I had an experience last week with Professor Ogaraku. Thank God she's here. We were invigilating the exam and the student was in labor. Yes, I was so afraid. I turned to a prayer warrior, and I was telling her that I don't even have fuel in my car, and she told me she didn't come with her own car. So luckily, and the student she was insisting to finish that exam. Even when we went to the coordinator was like, why did she come? But thank God, immediately she finished, they booked boats and she left. So, and at times you see them, they come with 2 weeks baby. How do we include students into this leave, please?
So everything is boiling down to. Okay, so number one. So this one now, because the scope of this policy is stated to apply to everybody. Yes. So I want to believe that this is also applicable to students. Yes. So we should remove this working parent. Okay, working parents. Working parents here has modified the scope there so that this particular one appears to apply to all the.
Except we can include a point for students.
Yes, please. What I don't understand this to mean, one, Gladys Cookie Health Center. IPS has a room for nursing mothers. That can be done in every faculty. That, to my mind, that is what is being referred to here. Because take, for instance, a mother whose office is at the division between the gates, the Uniport gate and her, will she be leaving her office to rush to the Gladys Cookie Center to nurse her baby? No. I think this is establishing a specific room in every faculty for this purpose. That's what I think. And that can also serve students.
And then the issue of affordability, to an extent, we don't need to pay for these things. If we domicile them in faculties, it should be free. Where you can keep your baby or breastfeed when the need arises. You don't need to pay for it. No, you come with your nanny. Okay, come with your nanny. Hey, you don't need to pay for it.
Ma, that's a very wonderful suggestion. Please permit me to sit. It's a very wonderful suggestion, but I also have a question. Are we going to have 2 rooms, one for lecturers and one for teachers? I don't think a lecturer for students, I mean, and one for working people. Because if we are suggesting that okay, yes, that's why those are the tiny nitty-gritties I think we should actually tease out. That's what we're here for, collaboration.
Okay, so just so we can make progress, what?
You know, what we are trying to avoid is something that's not feasible.
Okay.
Now, you want to go to every faculty to get where you babysit your children. Is it feasible? Sorry. Okay. Information.
NUC accreditation, when they come to the department, one of the facilities they ask for is sit out. When students are not having classes where they can sit and relax. It's different from restaurants and all that. So at that minimum, I believe the department should be able to provide it. Then that one can also serve that purpose. It's just for us to add now that student is also included here on this 4.4.
Fine. That, you know, why I asked the question is, we are trying to ensure that this policy we are going to produce is something that all of us will be proud. Yes. So if you think it's important and that we can achieve it, please let it be coined in such a way that it will serve all of us. So when you say student and this thing, when you enter labor world, we don't know a lecturer.
What we are saying, actually, please, one more thing. Okay. For staff, there is a specific period during pregnancy that you must take your maternity leave. You don't wait until your EDD before you take off duties. Currently, my younger brother's wife, we can't compare abroad and here. She's just 5 months pregnant, but she has gone to her office to take off leave of absence from studies. No, school. She's a student. Leave of absence for the next 1 year. That is what is mandatory. Even in her own office, the same thing. So I think there should be a way that we should include that female students who are pregnant at so point, they should take their maternity leave and go, so that they will not come and deliver here on campus. Yes.
Okay, so just so we can make progress, there have been some adjustments or modifications on the second actionable point under life-work balance. And it seems that what we have agreed is that we should redraft the second actionable point to read, provide on-campus child care services to child care services or child care support at read what you wrote. Please read what you are.
Yes, I wrote that provide on-campus safe and accessible child care service to support parents in every faculty. I didn't put a student is a parent. I didn't put working. I said parents. Parents. Shall become a parent.
Hello, fellow participants. I have been informed that we have 5 minutes left, and we have not. I don't know if we have reached half. That we have 5 minutes more. So I don't know what we can achieve in 5 minutes. So I don't know what we can achieve in 5 minutes. Okay. So can we leave this? Can we leave this? Can we leave this so that later it can be adjusted, it can be modified? Okay, combating, that's 4.5. Combating stereotyping and bias. Okay, there's an objective there. Okay, so that goes for it. So we have two actionable points that have been documented here. That's one we just left now. Okay. All right. So, 2 actionable points. 1, regularly review curricula to eliminate gender biases and include diverse perspectives. So, to combat stereotyping and bias, the action Uniport will take is to regularly review curricula to eliminate gender biases and include diverse perspectives. What do you have to say about that? Please, let's listen to a contribution.
Before we review curricula, we must have ensured that it's there. So I think the first line should be ensuring that it's there across faculties. Issues related to gender.
Now, what is there?
We're talking about implementation now.
Okay, so that
we should ensure that there is a gender issues.
Gender biases exist in our existing do we have
across faculties.
Yes, across faculties. So our curriculum or our curricula, do they have gender biases? Do we have it? Okay, in STEM. Okay. 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 Okay.
The GS course that was recommended earlier.
Yes. Do you have any such?
No, recommendation.
Okay. All right. So I think we'll go with that. We'll go where such biases exist. I think we can go with this. If there is a center in this university, or there is a particular institute in this university or aspect of this university where there exists gender biases and stereotyping in the content of the curriculum, I think it calls for a review. I think if we have such okay, in the absence of any objection, let's move to the second one. Provide bias training for educators and staff to promote inclusive. So I don't know what is bias training here. No, it cannot even be unbiased. To provide. Let's just say to provide training. Okay. Okay, let's remove bias. But inclusive teaching practices, to promote inclusive teaching, won't that solve the issue of the bias we are trying? I mean, the gender we are trying to bring. When inclusive is used to promote inclusive training, I think it is. I think that covers what.
Training, yes. A few weeks ago, I went to Abuja campus. I was in Abuja campus. I saw bus drivers and some of our students, female students, having issues. And the things I heard from the bus drivers, it was so appalling. If I if I wasn't going to somewhere that day, I would have had an altercation with these bus drivers. So it is also important, while we are talking to them, let us also narrow it down to bus drivers on our campuses, because if you see the issues they have with our female students every day, with staffs. No, let me talk about our female students. If you see the issues they have with them every day, you will be so shocked. Issues like a student will give a bus driver money, give me my change. The next thing you hear, abuses. See you, prostitutes. The thing is, they call them names. These bus drivers, they're supposed to talk to them every day. I am coming.
Please talk.
I'm coming. So these bus drivers, immediately you mention, give me my change. The next thing you hear is, I will see it all for face. Begin to abuse them, and when they call you these names, as a girl, you won't be comfortable. Even me as a man, there are some names you call me, I won't be comfortable with it. So let us narrow it down to these bus drivers on campuses. To while we're talking about teachers, we're talking about students.
Bus drivers are still stakeholders now.
Okay, I think they are part of our stakeholders. So he is.
Hello. It's not just the bus drivers. All these people that hawk, the cameramen that stay around. The other day at Delta Park, one of the camera guys that stayed there used stick to hit a girl, and the blood was flowing. We called the security man. He ran away.
Just punched my student, and we are doing GS exam. No, is it GS? Yeah, GS. University-wide exam, and they called it. By the time we boggled the man, they beat him up like, Shama. That's our work. So that's what we're trying to say. If we don't know, we won't know what to do. If that information got to us, that man will regret ever doing that and will never do it again. Because we are saying that gender matters are what? Humanity matters. It is not, in fact, it's a human rights issue. The lawyers here understand. So if you find any gender issue and you don't let us know, we won't be efficient. In fact, that security officer Tito, they moved him. By the time I called their CSO, the chief of security officer, they came, beat him up before me. In fact, stripped him. I said, correct. Till tomorrow, he respects me. And now, he's friendly with our students. Please, let us know some of this information, because it's very appalling. He's still there.
Sure.
At what point do we call the gender center, and at what point do we report to the student affairs? Because we don't have the hotlines or the channel to get to you.
I have had contact with student, not even security, where they are not. See, even the student affairs, we discover they don't even protect our students. Because the report she gave, I think the agri faculty persons, for a student who is, in fact, a serial raper of females on this campus, telling students, say, I'm in contact with this and this. In fact, we will have to strip him, make sure that Isego will reduce it. It's our work. And that is why, if you are not passionate, please, if they give you gender director, don't take. Don't take. Because you must be passionate about this thing. It's an aspect of activism. Because you see these things live. You talk about them, and because you are an agent of change. Please, I don't know, I will soon go, whoever they will give that position. If you are not passionate, don't take it. Because you can't sleep when you see a few things and hear a few things. Please let us know, so that we know what. If students have issues, if they go to security, men are involved. They do it the men way. They go to they go to students affairs. They do it the men's way. You won't get results. Please send it to the gender center, so that we'll be able to have information and follow it up. If the center gender moves and goes to either security or student union, you know that they won't downplay that matter. I hope you know. Because they know that another force is there. Thank you.
Okay, so okay. Okay, so do we still have any time left? Where we should? Okay, so I think it is okay. So thank you very much for. Okay, for the ones we have done. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Provide training must be on. Let us not leave it hanging like that. What training?
Well,
That's not the training. That's the aim, the purpose. But what is the training? Because we say we are not so inclusive.
Gender training.
Let's spell it out. Let's spell it out, please.
So, Madam suggests how you should.
Provide training on gender gender issues or something like that. For educators. So remember the topic.
So one of the actionable.
That's already captured. What kind of training? Okay, so into training and bias for educators and start to promote inclusive teaching practice. I also put educators
But we have said that. Okay, because only educators and staff are mentioned here.
Yes, I have included and all gender training. Educators, staff,
Okay, so we call them stakeholders. We have agreed that there will be a definition section where those who constitute the stakeholders will be mentioned. Yes, there's a provision for review of all of these things. It's a standalone strategy that we're going to look at. It's also here. Yes. All right. So we move to the next one, and so what we are just going to do here is, Prof, is just to identify the gaps. Okay. So for the rest, let's just run through them. Let's just run through them. We are no longer going to say much about the strategies that are already here. It's just to look at, with the strategies we are seeing, is there a gap? If there's any gap that comes to mind, we add. If there's none, we move on so that we can maximize the time left. So health and reproductive rights. We already have an objective. And then, so we have these two. Ensure access to comprehensive health services. Okay. Adequate health services, including reproductive health education. Yes, Prof.
Both staff and students. So if we're asking that this be provided, so what's the place of NHIS, which is already available for everyone? Of course, if you're registered with NHIS scheme and you go to Lulu Briggs, they will attend to you. So we have to be sure that we are not mixing up these two things, because it's accessible. Access, yeah, the access is there. Once you're registered, you have the access. at the point of abuse, okay, for the students. Okay, yeah, but even at that, like the one we are just talking about, I know that what I advised immediately was for her to go to UPTH, and she was attended to, So those things, I think there are what's it called? I asked her to go to emergency unit, and she was attended to. So it just wants to be sure that we are not overflogging these things, because these things are already available. Yes. Refer. When are we talking about referral when they are shying away? I don't know if you're getting me. They are trying to shy away from crowd. They are trying to, shy away from letting people know, so that they will not be stigmatized. This, I just quietly go. So for me, I think that whatever we have in place is enough, just to keep hiding them, because the more you expose them to platforms where people will get to know, the more also they will get scared. I don't know.
I think what you should be looking at, as it is stated, ensure adequate access to health services, because there are lots of variable or determinants of access.
Okay.
For all members of the university community or stakeholders, as we may talk, when we say access, if I'm sick, I have ill reports against me, is it possible if I go to Lulu Breeze, I will be able to access that particular service package? Is it affordable too for me, or it has to be out of pocket expenses, which will not be suitable for staff? So looking at access, it's not just the physical structures. Those things that we need, my eyes are getting blind as a staff, as a student. Can I accept that type of service? I think these are the things that we should be looking at. Services available for staff and students to access, not just the physical structure.
So please, I want us to look at this. Number one, does the university really have to provide this? And if the university has to provide this, is it not already in existence? Is Lulu Breeze not already in existence? Is NHIS not already in existence for anybody to access? Do we need to do any additional thing as a university make you go to Lulu Breeze?
Yeah, we need, because, excuse me, an information.
Okay, so why don't we use that intervention we used at that time, so that it shows that this one is about maybe to provide intervention services for victims
let me just give you an information,
so that it goes directly to that one, knowing that staff who has need of any medical services knows where to go and look for it. Do we need to do something?
Yeah, we need to do something, because I did some study on determinants of access to health among people. It was very, very surprised that just about 5% of all the people I talked with knew about NHS. They don't even know it exists. So there could be a lot of services, health services available, that even staff and students are not even aware of. And they could be, there are ones they will need, and they will not be available. For instance, there was a time, I just felt like that. I went to the health center, Lulu Breeze. No doctor to attend them. In fact, I had to go to a chemist to dress my wound. So we have these services, that students or staff should have access to. Like we're talking about access, we should be looking at the services available. And it is not the center. That should be part of what the university should provide for the staff.
Won't enlightenment campaign or sensitization do this? Solve this?
Please, I want to permit me to say something. Please, can I say something, please? I like us Nigerians because we like. Yes, I've exceeded. Please. Yeah, please. I want to say something. As like the director said, we have to be realistic. We shouldn't start asking for things we know in 10 years the university won't give us. If we go that lane, we will not get anything tangible. I feel this should focus more on those that the victims who are helpless, who don't know their way around. This should affect them, not staff who know about NHIS and the rest of them. If I know about NHIS, I wouldn't be talking about these ones. And also, Lulu Bricks, the institution there should do better. When we talk about health, I think it should be more accessible. UPTH, they have their too many bureaucracies. You have to go here, get your card, get your. So I think when we talk about this, the Lulu Brick Center should be more. If there's a need for employment of doctors, they should do that. So you can walk into there and get, students can walk in there and the rest of them. So that's what I think. Thank you so much.
So, please.
I want to give life examples. At two instances, a girl fainted in the class. I had to take her. The health facilities are available. There was no ambulance, no way to call someone to come and take her to. So I had to take her to the hospital, to Lulu Briggs. Then just this semester, one girl was panting. They were in physics practice. But I had to take her there. There was no line to call, no ambulance in place, no response team in place or whatever. So I think this. So they will now call the ambulance from there. So I think that comes under the services. We should emphasize that because I've done.
Okay, so I think on this first point, what are we accepting? Are we accepting the general health service, or we are limiting it to survivors of gender-based? So, okay, so we have two views. The one view is that we should limit it to survivors of gender-based violence or harassment, and the other view is that it should be all-encompassing. It should be applicable to everybody, irrespective of whether the persons have suffered. So, okay, so it seems the consensus is appearing from the mood of the house. I can guess that we are treating towards. Accepting, limiting it to gender, survivors of gender issues. Okay. If that is the case, the second one is conduct awareness campaigns on sexual and reproductive health services available on campus. Okay. Victims of sexual harassment, gender-based violence.
The next one is gender-based violence.
Okay.
The next one. This is health and reproductive.
Okay, this one is health because there is another one for gender. There's a policy on gender-based violence awareness. Okay. So we could still have that. Or we're going to say.
For this reproductive health, first of all,
Okay, so okay, so what do we do? Our time is up. That's what we are told, and we've not looked at gender-based violence awareness. This one is basically awareness. It appears this gender-based violence awareness is going to do the same thing we were to talk about under 4.6. From what I can see here. Yes. Okay, so just couch it. It can be modified so that we can move on. So for gender-based violence awareness, there are two. Okay, so there is an objective there. I'm sure there are one or two objectives there that are tailored towards this. So the actionable points are: one, organize workshops and seminars to educate the university community about gender-based violence. I don't think there's any issue with this. I think this is in order. Establish support groups for survivors and collaborate with local organizations for additional resources. I think this is also in order. Establish support groups for survivors and collaborate with local. Okay, so let's look at establish support groups. Is it establish support services? Is it to establish support services or groups? Okay, support groups. Okay. Let's just mention services so that we don't exhaust all the items that will be under services.
No, I said support group and counseling for.
Let's use a general word services to incorporate every other thing that survivors will need. Okay, so I think that is no other. Okay, for the graduate.
I feel that we should add another point. Sorry. I feel that we should add a second point. After the first one, organize workshop, there should be a follow-up. As we organize the workshop, we should also ensure that there should be some punitive measures. Okay, under evaluation. Because in the course of you educating them, not just creating the awareness, but let them know that these are the punitive measures for perpetrators. So if we can just include that, I think it will help.
I think we should articulate an objective for 4.7. The objective is not there. Just look through.
Oh.
Is it there? No. It's not. So we should articulate one objective for 4.7. Remember we increased objective. Yes, but it's not there. Gender-based violence awareness. We don't have an objective for it.
Yes.
How is it now? How is it work? How is it listening?
It makes sense.
Sorry, can we include a clause that will provide visual aids, direct visual aid as strategic points in the university, directing opposition against gender-based violence for all to see while you are going around it? Yes.
Okay, desensitization. We're talking about this to solve that. That will be because desensitization will require leaflets, billboards, and so many other resources. That will solve. And okay, so there was a suggestion that we should collapse 4.7 and 4.2 because they appear to be talking about the same thing. So finally, or second, okay, we have mentorship and networking. Mentorship and networking opportunities. As a policy, the objective seems to be okay. There is objective. That's number 8 or thereabouts. And so, 2 actionable points are here: establish formal mentorship programs that connect female students and faculty with successful women in their fields. Are we going to remove the female students and the women here to establish? Okay. Okay, please.
I say, why don't we remove the students? And why don't you just remove just students and connect female students and early career women? Female students and early career women. Early career women.
What about successful individuals? Generalize it now. Establish formal mentorship programs that connect students and faculty with successful individuals in their fields.
Okay. What about that? What about successful individuals in their fields? Formal mentorship programs that connect. Okay, somebody should that connect all genders with who? With individuals, with successful individuals in their fields. Okay, we go more there.
Okay, the next session.
It's very common to find that mentorship exists in female students and female lecturers. Yes, it does. It does.
All the person can cut for that. The first part to males and males and females, so you can vice versa. And I am a female may not like maybe my long enough. I like a man whose arm is long enough. Yeah, provided is his mentor, fine.
You can agree with me, it's rare. But if you talk about male students and male lecturer relationships,
because you're doing other power for the parents.
Whether or not.
All right, thank you. You know, I like your the male lecturers here. We were once students. We were once students and we are now lecturers. The young girl have become a mama. Yes. Please come. We are there for you.
Prof.
Yes, go ahead.
That remains that there is that relationship, there is that mentorship existing between a male lecturer and a male student. But we rarely find that between female lecturers and female students. We don't see that.
Yeah, it was.
It is rare. If we have that, but it is rare.
Sorry, young man.
It is
sorry, young man. Let me tell you. No, sorry, young man. Let me tell you. You know, there are things. Well, what I said earlier was on a very light note, but I want to let you know that there are things women don't tolerate, men do. And then these young ones are not ready for that. But later on, they begin to appreciate the person. I remember one of my supervisees several years ago. When she sees me, she will run away. Now, when she faced the exam and she was successful, she came to my house with all she had, including her husband. Hi, ma, if not be you. Hi, ma. I said, what did I do? Have I come with my knife again? She said, no. I was able to write that exam and pass because I was imagining you, the things you are saying. Sometimes when you say the things you say, some female students will not take it because they don't believe that you love them. But when their task had been successfully done, they return back to you. But the male students, you can be chasing the male student and he's coming back. I had one experience in my class. I was teaching and this young man was just flipping through his phone, and I was bothered. I got to him. I said, well, before I got there, he flipped this thing. I said, this phone, I bought it. I bought this phone. He said, ma, I said, give me the phone. I bought for +1 for me. Now, I said, open this phone. Immediately he opened the phone. One flashy girl's face appeared. And he closed it. And I said, now, why were you flipping through this? You know what he did? Oh, my mother. Oh, my brother. Oh, my father. I said, what did your mother do to you? What did your father in this class that I'm here teaching? So we finished with that. But by the time I took that boy up, the boy was now, you know, this entitlement spirit from the brother. My brother can give me, my mother can give me. I said, how can your mother give you with the kind of face I saw on your screen? How can your brother give you with the kind of girl face I saw on the screen? When you get such a sharp girl, you expect your brother to give you money to foot the girl's bill? By the time I finished with the boy, he also came back to tell me thank you. So what we are trying to say is that, you know, the conditions, they vary. And that is where we come in as lecturers. We have seen a few things, even as students, as teachers. When you see them, sometimes we are hard to bring them down. Sometimes we play along with them. If I didn't follow him, that boy was, in fact, this one you understand, was on Colos. The boy had gone gaga. Because the mother said, the father said, the brother was working with Ellen just at that time. I don't know where he is now, but the brother became his problem. So what we are trying to say that mentorship is not very easy, but for those of you who know what it takes, please keep doing it. I hope I'm not shortchanging you, Chairman.
No, you're not.
At this time, ladies and gentlemen, we are proud of you people. We want to say we are very happy to work with you. We will break up, but before you do that, a little stretch. Those of you who do a lot of workshop attending, just do one good health exercise for them. Let them stretch. What we want from you is that maybe even if it's 5 minutes, the females will be in one unit. Tell us something that we didn't capture, and this thing. The males will be in one group and tell us what we didn't capture that is important to this forthcoming project. Thank you very much. Just stand up, a little exercise. Yes, who is leading us? Professor Koha? Yes, do. Hey, oh boy, go ahead. Sorry, it's gender matter now. Let him do it. Yeah. Now stand. Our teacher is before us. Should we cup? Yes. Cup. Okay. Health exercise is very good for you. Yes, very good. Some of you are not doing it well. Look at his hand. The upper part of that arm. Yes. All right. That's correct. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead. Okay. Don't remove my teeth, oh. It's flowing well now. Oh, yes. Good. You see? Thank you. These are some of the things we benefit when we go out there. When we sit a little, they tell you a few things. Nobody is singing banana, 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 banana. Where on a day now? All right. Please be in the. So just the males, one group, maybe my left. The females, My right? Just tell us something and let us see whether we can document it. Lady Mina, can you come and chair this session? Yes. The females, just take 5 minutes. Tell us something that is not written here. The males, tell us something that we've not written. You want to say something? Oh, you have the mic. After all, you're our teacher. You're our secretary to you.
Okay, where are the women? Let me face them.
Face the women. Face that side. Women like this. Don't use mic so that men don't hear what you're discussing.
Okay. No, we need them to support us and help us too. Let me greet my teacher. I'm coming, please. Look at me.